And you have just crossed the line. End of debate. Report to the cargo bay and remain there until this is over. Is that understood?
Hi. Let's kick it off. Let's set it off to the left, shall we?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome once again to another edition of Fire Chakotay. This is Mike O'Diamond.
This is Matinga O'Malley.
And that's Booby O'Groton.
And Booby O'Groton.
That's Booby So Rotten.
So Booby So Rotten.
So this is
never.
Okay, Booby. Who are you, Booby?
I'm just Booby.
You're just Booby. Okay.
You're special.
So today in the special St. Patty's Day edition of Fire Chakotay, a bit late, you know.
A little late.
A bit.
Suddenly
A little bit late.
Suddenly Jamaican.
Yeah.
Can't fuck with the
A big late, you know.
Do you know what that reminds me of? When on the season of RuPaul's, when Miss
RuPaul's
when Shangela, she was gonna do the psychic.
Oh, Miss Cleo.
She was gonna do Miss Cleo, but she was doing Miss Cleo, you know, like that. And Miss Ru was like, that sounds Irish. She was like, oh no.
Oh no.
And she had to change it. She was like, honey, that does not sound Jamaican.
You know, some dialect crossover. You know, there's only so many ways a mouth can move. Hello. Ask my ex-boyfriend. So on today's episode of Fire Chakotay, we are sort of in the middle of season 6 of Star Trek Voyager, and we are doing an episode called Fair Haven.
Fair Haven.
Yes.
An episode I've seen many times, but the first time I saw it was in the early 90s, and I was like a callow youth in my early 20s, mid 20s, whatever. And I remember thinking, this episode of Voyager is tired. Because I wasn't looking for love. I was looking for sex. But honey, I got to tell you, like, we won't go into too much detail because we're going to talk about the episode, but I watched this episode today, and honey, I got all caught up.
Yes.
I was all caught up in the madness.
You were caught up in the rapture of love.
I got caught up in the rapture. I totally did.
Fair Haven is one of those episodes that I actually liked more after I watched it and thought about it later.
Yes.
Like, the ideas were very interesting. Booby, what did you think before we get into the deep dive?
I liked it. It was cute.
You liked it.
I liked it.
You liked it? You liked it?
I was gasping that I liked it as much as I liked it.
And
okay.
This episode potentially could have been problematic because of the ethnic stereotypes.
Right.
So, and did you want to give the air date and everything?
Yes. So I just real quick, Fair Haven is the 131st episode overall of Star Trek Voyager to have been produced. It was it was season 6, episode 11. And season 6, episode 11. Yes.
I'm losing it. Okay. So when the episode opens, we're on the Paramount backlot.
Totally on the Paramount backlot
in Burbank,
where they shot Frankenstein, where that they dressed it up.
Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, but you've seen this backlot.
I'm like,
before.
Am I watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit with this backlot here?
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be an Irish town called Fair Haven. It's a holodeck program,
and it was written by Paris. And
Question about Paris. My man Paris. So let me get this straight.
One night in Paris.
I'll take an hour. So Paris is the pilot,
yes,
the medic, and the designated hologram programmer.
Yes.
Well, but other people create holograms like Tuvok and the Doctor create he's holographic novels and holographic scenarios. I feel like Fair Haven is a holographic scenario, not a novel, because it's free form.
It's kind of like their setting, like when they had that French bar.
Yes.
Or Neelix's horrible Caribbean resort.
Yes.
With the same queens walking in Speedos.
The same queens. Bitch.
Looking lovely.
Yes. Looking tasty. So, Booby, set us up. What happens at the very beginning of the episode? Where are we? What's happening?
We are in the holodeck, on the holodeck in this town of Fair Haven, and Tom Paris is walking along the street.
Looking all cute.
Looking all, well, he okay. and he bumps into Harry, who he's supposed to have met at the Ox and Lamb
The Ox and Lamb.
the Oxen, something like that.
Yeah.
The bar of the town, and
because it's Ireland, everything has to center around a bar.
A bar.
Yes.
Bar.
But there's a train station and a church, and
you were looking for a bar.
Yeah, but honey, we'd all be looking for a bar.
Oh, trust, bitch.
Yeah.
The only gay bar in
the only gay bar in the village.
In the village.
Why is every gay bar in really small towns called the Wagon Wheel?
Wagon Wheel Watusi.
Like so many gay bars called the Wagon Wheel.
Also, what the fuck is a wagon wheel?
Yeah. It's a wheel from a wagon.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not a thing that moves water?
No, that's a water wheel.
That's a water wheel.
I thought that wasn't a kind of an amoeba. Okay, going on a tangent. So they're in this little Irish town, Fair Haven, the sunniest place in Ireland, apparently, because it looks like California.
Yeah.
And so Tom runs into a man who's a hologram who's both fat and homeless.
Seamus. He's not homeless. Seamus. He's had a fight with his wife, but really he's a drunk and just wants some money.
Free money.
Yeah,
because he's Irish.
He's the wimpy. He's the wimpy of the scenario.
Right.
I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger.
Right. For a hot Carl today. Yeah.
Me wife and I, well, we've hit a bit of a rough patch.
She threw you out again.
With nothing but the clothes on me back.
How much?
A shilling or two should suffice.
Yeah. So he cadoodles Tom out of a couple of shilling, which, by the way, Tom, it's a hologram. Give him all you want, because it ain't real.
Give him all you got.
Give him all you got.
And clearly there are pockets. Where are the pockets on these uniforms? Where'd he grab that change from?
But Seamus is getting out of pocket, talking about how he had to beat his wife down.
He did not beat his wife. This thing. Now we're throwing every stereotype.
Fair Haven.
Fair Haven.
Yeah. So anyway, what happens?
He meets Harry.
He meets Harry, who's trying to get it together with a flower girl.
Right.
Yes.
A bitch selling flowers from her car.
A girl that sells flowers.
A hologram that sells flowers.
Yes, who's bad news apparently. I think she's the town trolley.
Because she's sworn to marry the pig farmer with the big rake.
with the talking pig.
With the big rake.
How dare they? How dare they? By the way, there's a deleted scene where they show the talking pig, and it's just some twink in a fucking collar on a leash. So eventually, they make their way into this bar, the oxen leg, or whatever it's called,
Oxen Lamb.
And what's happening in this bar? People are drinking. People are carrying on. By the way, it's a busy little town.
Yeah. It's a busy little town. They also come across the doctor, who has apparently taken it upon himself not to just participate in the program, but to become the town priest. Because the doctor always tries to take the spotlight. She's very make it all about me, please.
But isn't he very believable?
He is. He totally is.
And you automatically give it to all of him. Yeah. I mean, it's all about him.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, so you're into Robert Picardo. I knew it. You
Not
do
really.
Your guys, booby.
Was it the priest's outfit?
No.
Was it his little bicycle? Anyway, so they go into the bar. By the way,
was it his giant bicycle?
A priest and a bicycle. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they go into this bar, and Janeway.
It's typical. It's typical bar going on. No, that's later. It's typical bar going on. Everyone is just kind of hanging out. They're being social. They have a hand wrestling. What do you call that? Arm wrestling competition.
Arm wrestling.
Yes.
And at this point, the captain wanders in. She's not in costume or anything. She's in the captain uniform.
Regalia.
But she's not dressed like a person from Fairhaven. She walks in. She's clearly kind of charmed by this scenario. She's heard around the ship that this scenario is a hit and people are enjoying it. She walks in. She's really, really enjoying it. She sees Michael Sullivan, who's the barkeep, the bar owner at the bar, and there's an instant, and I use this word often, but it really applies here. There's an instant frisson. A frisson, exactly. She doesn't actually talk to him very much at all in that first scene, but they look at each other and
you could tell.
You could tell, and what I love is you can't bottle chemistry. Chemistry just happens. I think two really great actors could fake it really, really well. But honey, these two actors have chemistry. I want to say that Michael Sullivan is portrayed by Fintan McEwen, who, aside from his white man flat booty, is so fine. Like, I fell in love with him. And I have never seen him in anything else, but apparently he's been in Game of Thrones, Merlin,
Really?
Irish Republican Army,
Waking Ned Divine. Like, he's been in a lot of things. You know what? He reminds me of like a much more sexy, younger, rougher Gabrielle Byrne.
Ah, yeah, in a way.
And
I gotta say, I didn't feel any kind of spark for him.
I thought he was fucking. Boo, did you think he was sexy?
Sorta, kinda.
Oh wow! But you know what? You two with the black dick.
Excuse me.
I
And
find
what
it
about
really
it,
weird.
bitch? And what about it?
Honey, there's other colored dick out there, honey. There's red, there's yellow,
It's blue.
there's
Blue.
blue.
Rainbow
I
bright.
love the blue.
Green.
I mean, you want to play ring toss, which they do later.
They
Hello,
do.
deleted scene. Do it on his holographic 10-inch dick.
Yeah. Well, listen.
I'm sure
fucking
he's
hot.
I'm sure he's a fine person. I'm just saying physically, from a physical standpoint. Let me give you the homosexual agenda here.
Yeah.
I didn't feel nothing for him at all.
Honey, I fell.
Was you
just
creaming?
I creamed just like Kathy did.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was
She's
living-
creaming.
She's creaming. Honey, Katie is
Yeah.
wet.
Yeah.
Katie O'Clair, she's wet.
Oh, she's like, honey, blue hearts, pink diamonds, lucky charms.
Honey, she's leaving a trail of slime behind her.
Like
It's
a
really
slug.
like, it's like, Captain, bring
Oh.
it down.
Here comes
And
old
when
Cat-
she leaves the bar, she turns and gives him this look like,
and you just
I'll
hear,
be back. And she tears the door off the fucking handles with her fucking twat.
well, remember, it's been years since she's had any.
And
Years.
that is an important part of this episode. But
Right.
I thought he was sexy. So then, but
He
really,
wasn't, unsexy.
he also had a big scar.
He just
on
didn't
his
like.
face.
He just didn't light my fire.
Oh my God, honey,
mean-
he left me ash and dust.
Did you feel like he had set off like an explosive inside you, like the IRA?
Yeah,
Yeah.
honey, he blew up my church.
Yeah. Oh, hello. He
Honey,
blew
we're being-
up your church.
We're being nasty.
Excuse
We're being
me.
really.
I read a book about Irish history. I can make any comment I want.
Oh,
Speaking
But
of Irish
really-
names, for some reason the other day I thought, wouldn't it be a funny burlesque name, Jugs O'Plenty? Miss
Jugs
O'Plenty.
O'Plenty. Hello.
drugs are plenty.
Jugs O'Plenty. Okay. So
Allegra Double D.
that should last 24 hours, girl.
Trust.
So anyway, Miss Kathy tips on back and fucks with the holographic program because she wants to play with the bartender dude, but he's
Well,
not quite to her
No, not yet.
liking.
Not yet.
Well, we're jumping. First of all, so this is storyline number A, but there is a B subplot that's really not important because it's all about Fair Haven. But Kathy comes into the bar at the beginning of the episode, grabs her officers. She's really there to grab her officers because there is some type of wave,
Some kind of.
a neutronic distortion wave.
Oh wait, and
He's headed toward them.
Harry's arm wrestling that ugly dude.
Is
Right.
almost that. So
And he wins?
He
Yes.
wins.
Yeah.
He wins apparently, but they were all betting against him, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
But she's really that she's charmed by the scenario, but she's like, guys, we've got pressing business. So they go into astrometrics, and there's this huge neutronic storm that is headed toward them that for some reason they can't outrun and they can't get away from.
And it's gonna
So-
mess them up.
It's going to mess them up. So what she's going to do is she's going to drop proverbial anchor and try and just sort of wait out the storm.
Batten down the hatches.
Batten down the hatches, and
Stop, drop, and roll.
yeah, and
Stop, drop, and roll.
it's going to be a real storm that they have to survive days in. They can't move, and they're using like the shields to protect themselves. So since they've got kind of like 3 days where they're just sort of twiddling their thumbs, Neelix says to the captain, why don't we expand Fair Haven and just let it run 24 hours a
24/7.
day so that anyone who has off can just wander into Fair Haven
Because of morale.
for morale and kiki ulala and
That's exactly what he said.
And he said to open it up at, you know, Katie, because when no one's around, he calls her Katie.
Yeah.
And she's like, this fucking hamster's gonna get it. But she's like, fine, let's do that. And so she decides to wander into the scenario as well.
Wait, is this before or after Seven is playing ring toss and killing it?
The fullness of your lips and the paleness of your cheeks, it's enough to make a man faint.
Then in that case, perhaps we should sit down.
Seven is playing a ring toss later, and she's kind of into Seamus, which is so bizarre.
Right.
She's charmed by him, and like all the other the officers are like, she's charmed by him.
Maybe she likes it thick and juicy and drunk and homeless, like we all do.
And short and blue.
And short and like
blue.
And like I don't know, like I love like an older daddy, but not like an older, like drunken, wasted, horrid daddy.
I don't know if he was horrid. I didn't like the game he was running to get those coins.
Those coins. He was just being a beggar.
Yeah. And also a drunk, and like drunks are very like,
they can't get it up.
Yeah. But really what's going on is Katie walks into the scenario and she starts having a conversation with Michael Sullivan. And right away, the chemistry is fucking off the charts. She finds him charming. She finds him handsome and brusque and masculine. And she's taken with him. And he is and sexy. And they spend an evening playing ring toss. And then they play some parlor games as well. And she's clearly attracted to him. And they play the games all night. And then in the morning, who shows up but Mrs. Sullivan? And Katie is like,
she handles it well.
She
does.
Unbothered, unplucked. She's
Yeah.
like, oh well, it was fabulous meeting you.
With grace.
With grace.
But haven't you been in that situation
where you thought they were feeling you, but they were just like, they just liked you,
just being friendly,
or
Yes.
maybe they were feeling you, but they didn't let you know that they had somebody.
and meanwhile
And
you're sopping wet, like you grabbed like a pillow off the bed,
right,
to like soak up the juices, and so you're married.
And then you got to like climb out of their car, hope that you got your underwear.
pull up your
on you.
pants.
I mean, Jesus.
You lose your high heel,
You lose your tooth.
you lose
My
that
God.
tooth, and it's the gold one.
But you want to stay classy because you're like, I'm not going to look like fucking trash in front of this married couple.
But you walk away with no tooth and one high heel with your class.
And you're like, but I had your man, girl. And what you going to do about it now?
But then I think
You can't unscramble that egg. I had him.
and then mind you, they're in the middle of this, this neutronic distortion thing. And some
Neutronic
of the
distortion.
Yeah. I am turning neutronic. And so it's causing like some people to be nauseous, and it's causing some outages in the ship, but it's no big deal.
Tuvok gets sick.
Tuvok gets sick, and it's a funny scene in the mess because Neelix doesn't know that Tuvok is feeling sick, but Seven is just watching Seven, enjoying the fact that
Tuvok is getting sick.
Blood pudding. You can't lose.
Well, that was my first choice too, but replicating the lamb's intestines, it could be tricky.
Neelix, and is it Tom?
are talking about mullet and rabbit stew and
blood pudding.
And he's like, I can't get the blood to coagulate. And
the milk.
And Tuvok's like,
And every time I try to heat the blood, it coagulates in the milk. If you'll excuse me.
He needs some milk, honey.
By the way, I have had blood pudding. Booby, have you ever had blood pudding at
Never.
Harry Potter Land?
It was against my religion as a child, and I grew up believing that, and still to this day, I won't touch it.
Oh, wow.
Well, I haven't had blood pudding since menopause.
In Spanish culture, there's a version of blood pudding.
Sangria flan. Sangria flan.
It's called morcilla. And honey, it is pig intestine cleaned out with lemon juice. Then they cook rice in the blood of the pig until the blood turns black. Then they stuff the intestines with the piggy, rice blood, and in the intestine, and then they fry it, girl. And then you fry it, and it turns black. It looks like a little black piece of shit.
So
and
did
you eat it,
Tuvok
girl.
in that scene.
And you, Mary. And then they
I'm sorry,
eat it.
this episode needs a trigger warning.
It does.
And
And
I'm
then
sorry, I know a little bit about Latino culture, and that's called sangria flan. Okay?
No.
It's called
No, it's
sangria
not.
flan.
Sangria is a type of wine, and flan is a dessert.
It's blood pudding. Yes, okay.
And
So
I want to say it's delicious. It's absolutely, absolutely delicious.
I'm not eating nothing with blood in the title, bitch. Nuh-uh.
I ain't no Klingon.
I'll take me a blood diamond, honey.
Yeah. So, but anyway, the gag is that Katie, she's into this guy, but he's not quite right. So, honey, she takes it upon herself to alter Tom's program of him. She makes him taller on the low.
Give him a more complicated personality. Increase the character's height by 3 centimeters. Remove the facial hair.
She makes him smarter. She makes him taller. She makes him more assertive.
Complex.
She makes him more complex. And I actually thought, wow, like this lady knows what she wants.
Well, let me
She's done
tell
this
you.
before.
And she not only does she do all that, but to get to my absolute favorite line of the episode, she also makes him single because she says, delete the wife.
Delete the wife.
She deletes the wife. And honey, like with a knife's edge, and delete the wife.
Delete the wife. I want to make
Yeah.
shirts now that say delete the wife.
Delete the wife.
Honey.
And I thought it was fantastic. And like the character was really charming and lovely beforehand. But afterward, he's like a little bit more manly, a little bit more assertive. He's smarter. He's more well-read. And he just becomes like and honey, like she falls for him. Even Chakotay not catches them because he's in the scenario enjoying himself. And he catches them headed to go on like a walk, and he's having fun with her.
That's a fine tattoo. Are you off a ship?
You could say that. You two have fun.
Yeah, he's like,
It's
no.
you getting some.
Yeah, oh no, I'm going to the bar. No, it's okay. And but then later they actually talk about it on the bridge. And he's like, go for it, girl. Like, honey, like
She
not exactly
turns
like that.
her face away from him.
Because she's embarrassed.
It's like, girl, why are you going to be embarrassed?
He is rather charming, isn't he? Too bad he's made of photons and force fields.
I never let that stand in my way.
But you know what? And this
Get yours.
This is the brilliant thing about this episode. The captain, just like Captain Picard, who did get a piece here and there, he had Vosh, who I thought was a nice foil for him.
She was a good
She was a good foil for him, but he didn't get a lot because he, just like Catherine, understands that you can't get into a relationship with an underling. You have to have a little bit of personal distance. Like, she does consider her crew, her family, and her children kind of in a way, and she loves them, but like, she's not gonna fuck an ensign because it could go horribly wrong.
But the difference is that Picard went home every few weeks.
And she can't.
This lady is stuck out there.
But she has to stay professional.
Right.
And several different people in several different ways kind of let her know, Katie, go for yours, girl.
Right, get it. Like, because
Neelix,
the doctor.
Chakotay, the doctor says, what's the difference between a hologram and a real person if you both have feelings for each other? You got a drunken hologram in this program screaming your name from a top of a fucking roof.
And that brings us to the crux of what this episode's really about. And also a question, does the holodeck run when no organic life forms are in it?
No, but this particular program was running.
Okay.
That because Neelix the captain gave Neelix special permission.
So even if there's no crew in there, scenarios are playing out.
The scenario is running out. Yeah.
Okay. Like, he could have been in that tree with nobody around.
But also remember that the longer you leave a hologram running, the more self-aware it becomes. That's what happened to the doctor. They left his program running and he started to learn and become self-aware. And so right now, the characters in Fair Haven aren't sentient or particularly self-aware. They're characters. But like, the longer you leave the program running,
There is an episode later on that deals with Fair Haven and the characters getting more and more
aware. Yeah. So, but there is a scene before the scene that we're talking about where Katie is kind of like on a date with Michael Sullivan, and they're in the bar and they're dancing. And I just want to say,
she's like in the full 1800s Ireland look.
And I want to say
the costuming is nice.
It's really nice. And also, did you notice that Katie's hair is long in the program, but short in reality? It's like, which one's the wig? But I just want to, once again, I want to stand Kate Mulgrew. They're dancing in a circle, and her face is ecstatic, and she's relaxed, and she's happy. And then he takes her in his arms, and she has this moment of like ecstasy, and she says, "Computer, get rid of everyone in the bar except for Michael." And like Michael, and she's sitting there, girl, the titties are up, and like she's like a little sweaty.
Computer, remove all characters except for Michael Sullivan.
Would you mind if I kissed you?
I might even kiss you back.
That is an actor who has a complete inner life for her character. Like, she knows who Catherine Janeway is. Catherine Janeway is living through Kate Mulgrew in that moment.
Right.
Like the ecstasy on her face when she's dancing. And then when Michael kisses her, and then she pushes back for a second, because she's like, do I do this? Because they definitely shing.
Oh,
she's like,
yeah.
yes. And she kisses him, and I just thought, like, not only did my heart break for Catherine Janeway, but I was like, Kate Mulgrew, mama. Like, damn,
better work.
She better work.
Like her going into ecstasy at that Irish square dance would be like, in today's terms, if somebody was at the club making their pussy pop.
Making the pussy
Did
pop.
you know that the current tradition, underground tradition at weddings, is to do X?
Girl,
I had no idea.
Oh, I have to know. What is your source for this information?
Several children have told me that they had. Well, one child in particular said that he went to this wedding, and the bride and groom both popped a hit, and then they asked anybody else who wanted.
Oh, then
it's
definitely a trend.
Well, no. Listen. So then I said, really? He's like, yeah. Evidently, this is the thing now at weddings, is that people pop hits of ecstasy. I was like, really?
But you want
this child knows what he's talking about.
I want to interject. I want to interject here because, okay, so say you did that, right? And the ecstasy was really, really good. Oh my God, what a beautiful wedding day, right? But say you pop that X, and it was
mescaline,
and it had Mexican, and it had Mexican in it, and it was really not mescaline but Mexican, and you were like, and you were all speedy, and you were like, and it was your wedding day, and you'd be like tripping, and you'd be like, girl, I'm tripping, and here, smoke some pot because maybe you'll feel better, and then you get even higher. And it could be bad.
I think that's just a bad mix.
I think also, by the way, ecstasy is still out there, honey. The kids do X, they do their Molly. Even fucking disgusting predator Matt Gates is taking ecstasy and fucking prostitutes.
Oh, let's not even go there with that woodchuck looking motherfucker.
Right, but it's just like people do X.
Okay, wait a minute, girl.
Yeah.
Miss Booby, just because
would you?
child,
I would not. No, I would not. And I know.
Well, I think it would depend on the wedding. But Miss Booby, just because some child that you know from somewhere where you is went to a wedding where that happened, doesn't mean
he was pretty clear that this is an often occurring thing at weddings in Miami. Maybe not around the round.
Well, does he work weddings? Is he like a caterer? Is he a musician?
He's got lots of relatives that get married a lot.
So he's Mexican.
Oh. Well, okay.
I'm being so problematic.
I have been fucked up at weddings. I have never done ecstasy at a wedding, but you know, I've been fucked up with you at weddings.
With me at weddings. Yeah. Multiple weddings.
Multiple weddings.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to do X at a wedding because I feel like I'm not going to waste my good high on somebody else's big day. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. And then you get lovey-dovey with the bartenders, and
I know, no. And like you're under there, just carrying on. Being
Michael Sullivan.
Or you get lovey-dovey with like somebody's cousin.
Right. The groom.
And you're like, ooh.
You're like,
The
oh, I'm
groom.
playing ring toss with the groom, honey.
I'm like you're fucking somebody in a broom closet, like Jackrabbit fast, a little bit like beady sweat.
Ladies and gentlemen, jugs are plenty.
Jugs, welcome to Jugs of Plenty.
May the best woman win.
Win. I say no. I say
Yeah.
no. By the way, in the last week, I have been forced to look at not one but 2 wedding albums from 2 different people. God damn it.
Nobody wants to look at your
Well,
wedding album. Nobody wants to like look at the pictures you took in Europe on vacation.
Lies. Nobody. The
Nobody
first,
wants
the
to- no
first
one wants-
one,
no
I'm
one
like,
wants to look
girl,
at your
I was at the
ugly ass-
motherfucking wedding, and it was 200 pages, and every page I'm like, oh, that's gorgeous. Oh, gorgeous. But the other wedding album, a friend of mine who got married in 1972. Now that wedding album, bitch, they got married in some kind of Orthodox church in Queens, and the bride's party are wearing floor-length purple chiffon gowns with like piping down the front and purple veils.
Were they pretty?
Horrible. Big bouffant hairdos, and some lady inside the church wearing big sunglasses. I need to get that wedding album in my collection, girl.
It was Jackie Onassis.
Child. Anyway, back to Fair Haven. So, honey, Miss Catherine is caught up in the rapture of love and also still dealing with this spatial anomaly thing that's happening.
Right.
And you have to, and what you realize watching this episode is that, you know, she is an incredible captain. She's a fierce diva. She loves her crew. But you know what? She's really lonely. And you have a brilliant woman. You have this brilliant woman in the bloom of her womanhood. Like, what is she, like 50 maybe?
Oh, not even.
Maybe 40. Maybe she's 40.
She's in her 40s.
She's in her 50s. What you talking about?
Kate Mulgrew maybe, but Janeway's in her 40s.
Really?
And she's like, you know, so you have a woman like in the full blossom of her career and her life. And there's a moment where, you know, Michael Sullivan says to her, there's no use waiting any longer. And she's like, no,
there isn't.
No, there isn't. And you sort of realize that, like, you know, the best years of her life are, you know, they're fading away. Right. She has no one to be with. She falls for this handsome, charming rogue. And apparently the next day they go on a picnic. He falls asleep on top of her. And she suddenly realizes this is all fake. This is photons. And I'm falling for a holographic image. And she just bugs out and she leaves. And she decides that she's not going to go back to Fair Haven.
Because he snored.
And she wanted to alter his program again.
Right.
But that's a very slippery slope, because if you keep altering, eventually you're going to end up with like a neutered pup. That's like, you know, you know, and she doesn't want that. She wants a man. She wants him. And that's what she has.
Join the club, Katie.
And so Michael Sullivan's heart is broken. He's climbing bell towers. His heart is broken. A huge fight breaks out in the bar that turns into a physical.
Because it's Irish, don't you know?
You don't think I'm good enough for her? No, I didn't say that. Well, tell me where she's gone. I don't know. Well, I think you do.
Yeah, and so she goes into the sick bay, and like Tom and Harry and a couple crew members are like fucked up, like they got messed up. By the way, I wonder why the holographic safety protocols aren't on.
Because she didn't want to use condoms.
Trust. So, honey, so she got that, honey, but I'm sure the space prep.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's some type of space prep. And so she, so like, you know, and they're being kind of kittenish about it because they don't want her to realize that they know that like her and Michael are a thing. Yeah.
But you know what though, with Fair Haven, some of it is bleeding into the ship, because just like you noticed that they had bruises, the doctor's walking the halls dressed as a priest.
Dressed like a priest.
I mean, feel your fantasy, doctor.
He's feeling the fantasy. And, you know, and I love how he kind of orders her, the doctor. He's like, come take a walk with me.
Right.
She's like,
my child.
She's
well,
like,
but
why don't we take a little walk?
Their conversation is intense.
It's so intense.
Because they're debating or discussing her relationship with this character. And she's like, oh, he's just photons and force fields. Well, so is the doctor.
Exactly.
You know, it's almost offensive. Like
I'm going to write a Dear John letter to a hologram.
To a hologram?
But
Bitch,
she
please.
could have. She should have.
Bitch, please.
I don't know. I mean, is it in that moment? Is she thinking holograms aren't real? They're not sentient?
Yes.
You know, is she thinking that about the doctor?
No.
No. But the thing is the only sentient hologram in Starfleet
is Deanna Troi.
At this point, is the doctor.
Right.
And what the thing about the Michael Sullivan program is that it is incredibly intuitive and it is incredibly complex, but it's not a person quite just yet.
Well, let me ask.
It's a wonderful facsimile.
If you had that level of technology available to you, and you were in her situation, look at Miss Booby, would you create your quote unquote perfect lover, and would it be real to you or real enough?
It would be big, real big.
Big. I mean,
there's a circus in town.
Honey, his dick would be big. His name would be big.
His brain would be small.
His brain would be. I would have sex with a hologram. Of course, that's what they're there for. I mean, on DS9,
that's what they're there for.
That's what I mean. That's not only what they're there. They're there for games and distraction and learning and everything. But part of their function is sex. On DS9, they have those rooms where they have those holographic sex workers.
So basically, you want like a ColecoVision that can have pre-com is where you're coming from. Yeah.
Now the thing is, would you fall in love with one?
I don't know.
I mean, I think I would surrender to the fantasy, but I'd also
being in love.
Yeah, but in the back of my mind, I'd be like, when I'm done, I got to go to work and we turn this off, and he'll be waiting when you don't fall in love with that, but you have a lot of fun.
So it's like a next level sex doll for you.
But even more, because this is something that can actually talk to you and learn from you and like. And
is it a physical manifestation of, like, let's say having a real sexy text chat with somebody on Grindr? Because is that a person? Is that maybe it's a bot? Bots
could be a
exist
bot
on those things.
Right.
I don't know. It's weird. I have to say that, like, for me, I didn't even know that I'd have sex with a hologram because I got standards, yo. And suddenly, Susan, I would not have a relationship with one. Because I need to use your word.
With real people.
I don't have them with real people. Why start with fucking flashlights? I feel like this. Part of the thrill for me when I seduce a man is breaking down his mental and emotional barriers. Okay. And getting him into my web of seduction. Yeah. But with a hologram, I wouldn't have that challenge. So I gotta say no. It's no. Yes.
No. But how about with a honeygram?
Not even with a telegram. Bitch.
Right.
Not even a Marthagram.
But mind you, maybe with
a bowl of honeycomb.
With honeycombs. Maybe with honeycombs from Charmed.
So she realizes holographic trade ain't enough for her, and she ain't ready to delete him, but she kind of puts him away and makes the computer not allow her to make changes, and somehow they weather the space storm.
Right.
I think it's even deeper than that. I think that the doctor, because as a little side note, there's precedence for this. Because remember that Geordi falls in love with a hologram of Leah Brahms.
Oh, I just watched that episode. God, it's creepy.
It's so creepy. It's sort of predatory in a way. And Leah finds out about it and does not like it.
She's through.
She's through. But also Riker falls in love with a hologram that ends up being a sentient alien, but she thinks it's a hologram.
Did you guys see that clip of Jonathan Frakes when he was on the White Shadow in the 70s?
No.
What a tasty motherfucker he was.
Really?
And he looked a little gay in this clip, and maybe he's supposed to be gay. There's some kind of, I don't know what, but goddamn, he was looking cute, kind of in that John Travolta way, but I'll send it to you. He was looking adorable.
That was like a basketball drama.
How dare they call it the White Shadow?
The White Shadow.
Oh, 1970s, you racist potpourri.
Yeah. And so, so I'm saying that there's precedence, and I think that the doctor gets through to her because he makes her understand, listen, if you're not going to have a relationship with a living, breathing person on the ship, part of being a human being is having that give and take with someone else. And you like this hologram, and this hologram likes you, loves you too. Why not? And I think he tips the scale for her. And then what happens is, because of the stupid neutronic storm, Fairhaven gets almost destroyed. But
yes,
but there are certain elements that are still there. But Tom is going to have to compress it, destroy it, and start from scratch. But before he does that, and I think that this is really charming of Tom. Goes to the captain and says, "We could save some of it."
Right.
He doesn't
he's
say
very,
what.
He's very
I
sweet.
don't
about
know.
it.
He's very subtle, but there's something. And so she checks to see if the Michael Sullivan character is completely intact. He is.
And her relief is palpable.
And her relief is palpable. And she talks to him for a little bit, and she's saying goodbye because she feels that she kind of like should have given him that Dear John. And in the middle of the goodbye, she realizes, I don't have to say goodbye.
I might actually be passing this way in 6 or 7 weeks. Maybe I'll stop by the pub.
And I love that, like, she says, computer, save him.
Right.
You lose it all, but save this character. And she says, I'll be back this way in 6 weeks. And honey, she's going to get her some. Now, mind you,
Space Nookie. Hello.
and also, I think, she also gets some from Tom. And I think she does get some from Tom.
Oh, that's right.
She gets some from Tom.
Amphibian.
But that's salamander dick, yo.
And maybe from Chakotay, like dipping his toe into the bathtub.
Oh, when he built her the tub.
And the alien when she forgot her memory.
When he hung out with her at the tubs.
At the tubs. And also when she lost her memory and she falls in love with the guy.
Right.
Oh, that's coming. That's coming up. That's
later. So she does get some, because you know what it is? I think I actually wrote this down, is what you realize that, like, this chick is a woman. She's not just a captain. She's just not a captain.
Right.
She's a woman. Like, but like, yes, she's a female captain, but like, just like kind of like when you're growing up, like you don't think your parents are people. Like
I still don't.
You just, you hold them up on this pedestal. But
Never
then,
did
like,
that.
When you grow up, you realize, oh, she's a person with personal foibles, and that she's infallible, and they want love just like you do, and you cut them a little more slack. This episode cuts Catherine some slack, and I loved it. It
deeply humanizes the character.
Yeah.
Yes. And B'Elanna's hair in the seconds that she was on was a mess.
Oh, right. Where's B'Elanna? She's in this for like a second.
She's in it for a second, and she looks like she just woke up with the wig on.
Wait, is she still rocking the curly wig?
It's slightly curly, but it's also like, a little iron from sleeping.
Well, what happened was that they were working such long hours. She just slept overnight under a craft services table.
Yeah.
And then they dragged her out for that one scene and just kind of held her up in front of the
wake
camera.
up.
She was like, the capture. Yeah, she was.
I think she had just had her kid, hadn't she?
Oh, I don't know. That's no excuse for the wig stylist.
That's true.
That's not her hair.
I hate that curly wig. That curly wig sucks.
The curly lasagna wig?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it wasn't that. It was slightly straight.
Really?
I've been there. Actually, never been there.
Never been there. No, you know what? I have eaten my fair share of pussy.
For God's sake, we got to go down this road again. All right, jugs of plenty.
Down this rabbit hole.
Bad. You know what? It's not that bad.
Mama.
Every once in a while, it's nice to have like some chicken. It tastes like chicken.
Mama. It tastes like hot wings. Does it taste like blood pudding, Mama? So
a little bit.
Let's rate this episode.
Didn't Tina say that to Joan Crawford? Didn't
Mama.
they like blood pudding, Mama?
Mama. Mama, it tastes like blood pudding. Oh, gag. So they're releasing Mommy Dearest on Blu-ray.
Gag.
And you know who's doing one of the commentaries? Miss
Hedda
Hedda
Lettuce.
Lettuce. Yes.
So you know what?
If anyone earned it, she did.
If anyone earned it, Miss Hedda earned that.
Did you ever go to those live Mommy Dearest interactive things that she did?
I've been to her live interactive things, but not Mommy Dearest.
Oh, the Mommy Dearest, spectacularly funny.
I know they're great. Yeah, I know they're great.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's a miserable human, but I'll give it to her. She steals good material. So,
well, you know my feelings,
Miss Hedda.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, no. We love Miss Hedda, and I will get that Blu-ray.
Speak for yourself.
So, on a scale of 1 to 5, holographic Lima, I'm going to give this one a 3. While I was watching it, I was thinking like 2 because it was so stupid. But in retrospect, no, I liked it better as a thought experiment when I reflected on it later. So I'm going to give it 3, a solid 3.
You know what? I have watched this episode and thought it was tired. I have watched this episode and thought it was ridiculous but sort of funny. And like this today, I watched this episode and it touched my heart, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm giving it 4 Leola root. I really, really enjoyed it.
Wow.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Wow.
Wow.
Wagon Wheel Watusi. Boo. What you?
I'm going to give it 3.75.
Okay.
Because I enjoyed it a lot.
You liked it better than I thought you did. I'm so glad.
I did.
Interesting.
Like it made me question like what I would do with a hollow sweat.
A hollow sweat.
Hollow sweat, honey.
I would
hollow sweaty motherfucker. Well,
you want fame? Well, fame costs, and right here is where you start paying in hollow sweats.
Well, Miss Booby, when you start dropping ecstasy at all those weddings, which is going to be happening,
right,
girl. So 3.75, a 4, a 3. Generally, we like this episode.
Yeah.
Fair Haven from season 6 of Star Trek Voyager. So thank you for listening to this particular episode of Fire Chakotay. You can find us on Apple Music and YouTube's, and we're on Linktree and Instagram, and honey, we're all over the place. So get into us like a holographic leprechaun.
Hollow sweat it.
Hollow sweat it out, bitch.
Hollow sweat, like when you're when you're Jewish and you're sweating real hard. CHALLA sweat.
Hollow sweat. Oh, darling, this Passover they had some lovely hollow sweat.
Some hollow sweat. Girl, I ate so much I got the hollow sweats.
I got the hollow sweats, darling. Meanwhile, what's happening? So, thank you for listening to this episode of Fire Chakotay. This is Mike Jugs O'Plentish a Diamond.
This is Miss Matinga Allegra Double D Matinga.
You can say Matinga Alexis Mateo. And this is Booby.
And this is Booby. Like, how do you know?